Good morning. Apologies for last week. I was away with my daughter because it was half term. We were off doing some cross-country clinic, and we completely forgot that it was a Tuesday, so we missed last week. So yeah, apologies for that. Jason's just come back from riding this gorgeous chap. He's called Mowgli, and he is just such a superstar. He's been really, really cool. He's a Criollo cross quarter horse, I think. And he's near the end of his training. He is just a complete dude. We wish they were all like that. In fact, actually we don't, because then we'd probably be out of business. Anyway, so Jason's going to be working with this beautiful young mare that arrived yesterday. She's only 2. And her world's been turned upside down a little bit. Okay, Jace, what's the go?
So I thought I'd start just with a little bit of tying up work. And you can see there I've got the resistance tie. And interestingly, it seems like she may have already learnt, because I was we just took these guys off and separated the 2 of them. And she was really pulling back and pulling up, and I thought, well, that'd be quite good for people to see. Oh, here she goes.
Ah, so here you can see our safe tie in action here. So how this works, I'll get Jason to explain.
So if you watch again, she's obviously quite a sensitive and reactive horse, or can be. And so when we took that mare away, she just tried pulling back, but as she pulled back there was still resistance, so the rope is able to slide through these great little devices, and she pulled back a little bit, realized she was still caught, and then relaxed, came forward. I shortened her up, and here she is standing.
Yeah, she's obviously a quick learner.
She's a very quick learner.
So these are brilliant. So if you can see here, when a horse does pull back, they can pull through, but it's with resistance. So they actually learn, that pulling back doesn't get that big release when they snap the baler twine or, snap the rope, and they learn to step forward into pressure again. So they're absolutely brilliant. We have them everywhere on the yard. You can see on all our ties we have them, and we have them on the horse box too.
I don't know whether you guys saw that, but I was just giving her a lead away and seeing if that might give you a bit more of an example.
So this is the first lesson that baby horses, when they arrive on the yard, is to tie up and just to stand nice and quietly on the tie, which doesn't sound a lot, but actually for young horses that have been off their place for the first time, oh look, you can see that in action, and then step forward into the pressure. So these are absolutely brilliant. They do work best when you've got decent ropes. But you can sort of change the setting on them if you've got a smaller rope. So yeah, I was just saying, it sounds like a really small thing to just tie up on the yard, but for these baby horses it can be, a really big lesson learnt.
Well, I've been training all my life, and this is one of the things that I used to lose sleep over, because you never want to send a horse back that. She goes again.
So she's actually training herself, isn't she?
Yeah, but you never want to send a horse back that pulls back and breaks baling twine or breaks string, or you can't trust to be tied up. But at the same time, if you tied solid, which some people do, and they will learn in the same way, but it can be, for some horses, it can injure them, or they can, it's really not a nice thing. And this is the best compromise that I can think of, or that I've found, and so sleep soundly at night.
Yeah, and it is, and they literally do train themselves, the horses. you know, to step into pressure rather than away from pressure. So it's great. Right. Oh, sorry.
Just say that again. Penny said step into pressure. What she means is when she pulls back, there is pressure on a pole, but it gives until she steps forward, and then the pressure releases. Just to clarify.
So I think Jace is going to do some first bit of handling with this young mare now. As I said, she arrived yesterday. She's only 2 years old. She's well grown for 2 years old, I have to say. She looks very, very well in herself. And she's actually coming for starting next year. But the owners wanted to get a bit of handling on her because she's got a little too big for her boots recently. Hasn't been good for the farrier, so they've had to sedate her to get her feet done and things like that. So we're just gonna, Jason's got 2 weeks of groundwork education with her, and you can see there's a bit of a lack of attention on Jason, walking over the top of him, and not a lot of personal space going on here at the moment. So we've got a bit of snorting, and we've got a bit of, you can see she's wanting to sort of go into his space, and he's just asking her to move that hind end around, step that hind leg underneath herself. And now he's just asking for a lower of the head. There we go. And as soon as she got that little lowering of the head, he just let her go. And he's not pulling, it's just applying gentle pressure. There we go. Yeah, so she's been a handful at home. She actually had quite a bad injury, so she had a couple of months on box rest. So she's not great with her hind legs, and just all sorts of things just have conspired to make her a little bit tricky. Sometimes you can find with the young horses and older horses, if they've had to be on box rest, and you know, the only time that she was taken out was to go to the vets and things like that. You know, they can start to develop a few handling issues. And also, she is 2 years old, so she doesn't know a lot, and you know, they can be quite fast, and you can see she's already just starting to settle. Her focus is getting a little bit more on Jason, and she's lowering that head a lot quicker. And hopefully we'll just get a little update from Jace now, and he can say what he's looking for.
So you can see it's probably just slightly dangerous because she's looking around, she's running, her shoulder's running through me, and what I need to do initially to stop the shoulder running through me is get the hind end stepping out. So it's sort of like a turn on the forehand, and when they turn on the forehand, the front stops moving and therefore the shoulders stop pushing. And once I get that, it's not a far cry to just getting them to back off you. But for her, when she gets busy like that, she has to pay attention to, or just notice me, and that's why I was flicking her and getting her to say, "Hoi, I know you're looking around, but if you bump into me, you will get a little."
There you go.
And then I have a few little ground rules as well. So first I'm trying to get a little bit of control of the hind end, stop the shoulders pushing into me. And then I wanted to think about lowering, but also she's in a bit of a habit. I'm working on the right side of her at the moment, and I want to keep her on the right side, but she wants to bring her head, and this is A lot of horses do this to start taking over. They'll lift their head up over you and they'll go there. And when a horse does that, boom, that's a prime example of what happens. So if I'm this side, I want her to accept that I'm this side and be comfortable about that. So I'll make little corrections there. So I want you to cross me. If you're going to do anything, you can go around me, but you can't put your head over me and go through me.
So is that, do they prefer you being on the left-hand side because that's the side that most people handle their horses from?
A lot of the time, yes. Yeah, so it's important to sort of evenly handle your horses, particularly if you're getting them ready to be started or something like that. So before I can do any leg handling or anything like this, which she's had a bit of a wound on the back of her leg, before I can start doing that, I have to have some control of her feet. And at the moment, it really isn't good enough. So it might be a couple of days before I start really getting to handling her legs. And hopefully, when I get to that stage, it'll be much easier.
Yeah, you see, she's being a very good demonstration horse because she keeps doing what Jason said and trying to get him on the other side by lifting her head over him and using her shoulders to just barge straight through him. So for those of you, if you've just tuned in, she's 2 years old. She only arrived yesterday. So obviously, you know, all this is totally new environment, you know, new horses, Jason. And that was quite a good reaction there. It wasn't such a big reaction as just now when I had to really duck out the way. She thought about standing up and she actually thought better of it. And there's a little lower of the head. So there he's just working on getting that hind end stepping underneath her so she can't use her shoulders to barge through him. And with all baby horses there'll be ups and downs because she had actually just settled and then something's obviously caught her attention, got her a little bit set off again, and she's having a look at the mounting block. So all this is absolutely, completely normal, and most of the babies that come, you see she's really trying to get him on the other side. Most of the babies that come to us, they all have these little moments on the ground to start off with. She's trying a few tricks of the trade here. So she's tried to go up. There, she looked as if she was trying a little cheeky kick out with the hind end. So she is trying lots of little tricks to sort of test Jason out, and she's really snorting at the mounting block. So to start with, when she first came down here, she was sort of barging into Jason. Now she's becoming a little bit more defensive. Do you think, Jace? She's just tried a little...
So now I've asked her to move the hip away. She's saying, okay, well, I'm not going to run through you anymore. So the shoulder's stopping. And now I'm sort of wanting the shoulder to move away from me a little bit and everything to start travelling forward around me, and that's when she's really starting to object. So when you're watching me work with her, I'll just work that side again before I swap sides. What I'm trying to see before I release is her shoulder just move away a little bit, and I want to see that response. If I go move, she moves away, but at the moment when I ask her to move, she wants to come into that pressure. So she wants to rear or kick or something like that. So we just wanted to understand, when I ask her to move...
She got a little fright then. It's...
There I stop.
Yeah. So when you're doing live streaming, I can't zoom in and out, so I have to go right up close to Jason to get him to talk. So I'm just having to keep a little bit on my toes with this young lady. Yeah, so Jason stopped asking as soon as he got that step away. There we go, that's a much better reaction. You can see these two guys up here watching going, really? There's nothing to be excited about. It's all pretty chilled up there on the yard. These are much better reactions. He's just asking for that lower of the head again. He's not pulling, he's just putting a little bit of pressure on. As soon as she gives, let's go. Right, now he's going to just work on the other side. And this was the side that she wasn't letting him in to start with. And you can see there, she's not that keen to have him on the right. Oh, investigate the mounting block. So she's a 2-year-old Hanoverian. And as I said earlier, she had quite a bad leg injury. So she's been in on box rest a lot and things like that, and she's just got a little bit hard to handle for the owner. And you can see she's quite a feisty young filly, and she will be coming for starting next year. She's nicely grown for a 2-year-old, so she will be definitely ready to be lightly back next year. And this will be great. Look at her, she's trying to get Jason on that left hand side again. She just doesn't want him on that right-hand side. So I don't know whether it's a pony club upbringing, but we do a lot of our handling on the left-hand side. I suppose that's the side we mount from a lot and lead from. So it's really important with the young horses and the older ones to always keep swapping sides so that they are balanced both sides in all our handling. It's one of those things that you can sort of do without thinking, is just handle them from the same side the whole time. Yeah, that's a better reaction. So we'll just get Jace to come over one last time, and yeah, we'll leave him to carry on working with Freya for the rest of her session. And we might be able to catch up with her in a couple of weeks' time, but just before she goes home, and hopefully see a bit of a difference. He'll be working a lot on leg handling, because she's not great for the farrier, and yeah, and probably lunging, bit of long lining, and really that sort of preparation work for backing next year. She's starting to respect Jason's space a little bit more. Good girl. There, that's a nice one. Good girl. Right, Jace, quick debrief before we leave you to it. She does keep coming into the camera.
Yeah, this is yeah, it's all fine. You've just got to re-establish a bit of a routine. She knows some of these little things that she's done today, and for us it's just starting to change her mind about how she responds to what we do. The moment if I say move, it's more of a push into response, and she needs to learn that actually if I ask her to move wherever it may be, directed at the hip first, so moving the back end, and then just getting her to step the shoulders off me if that's where I'm pushing. And lastly, it was you could see I was just asking for a bit of a step back there, and I'm sort of always trying to work at the side of the horse, particularly with these sort of horses. And if you work at the back, obviously there's a risk of being kicked. If you work too much at the right directly in front and you're doing your back up first, then sometimes they can rear and strike. So you work a little bit to the side of your horse in the beginning, and then once you start to feel they understand about moving off, then you can start to push backwards and operate more in the front and back. So,
Great. Oh,
there
thanks
we
for
are.
that. She was a very good demonstration horse. Bit of excitement on there. Look, best buddies now. All right, guys, we will. Oh, actually, we might not be able to check in next Tuesday because Jason's doing a senior management leadership program day with the Royal Horticultural Society, and we'll actually be on the road. It's in the afternoon, but we've got to get up to Surrey for that, which is that's always a really good fun, doing these corporate leadership days. So it's something really different, but we will be on the road. But I'll pop up a training tips video, and oh, that's nice. Look, she's really starting to settle down. She's going to be a beautiful horse. All right, guys, have a lovely day wherever you are. See you later. Oh, and by the way, just about those safe ties, I will put a link underneath this, like if you want to check them out. Okay, there's my bit of marketing. See you later. Bye.